everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Tori, and today I'm going to be doing a book haul for you guys. I recently got a box from Bookoutlet.com, which if you're not familiar with it, I will put a link in the description box below. If you use my referral link, you can get $10 off of your first order, which is awesome. And Bookoutlet is basically, like, I'm not getting paid to say this, but Bookoutlet is like seriously dangerous because they buy a lot of overstock from publishers. Basically, you can get, you know, $12, $15, $18, $26 books for less than $10. Oftentimes they're as cheap as like $1 to $3. So you're welcome, and I'm also sorry. The first book that I got from Thrift Books, it's the only one not from Bookoutlet, is a book called Bridge of Clay. This is by the author that wrote The Book Thief, which I've heard a lot of really cool things about. I've never personally read it. The main character is a boy named Clay who is kind of holding his family together, and their estranged father, who walked out of their life years and years ago, suddenly comes back in, and it's the whole family trying to make sense of this and trying to kind of like rebuild in a sense, and Clay is kind of the one who is trying to like help everybody adjust to this. Now, when I'm on Bookoutlet, I sometimes will search for authors that I know. Sometimes I will just literally sort through different genres that I'm interested in and read the descriptions. Sometimes I pick books based on the cover. So the first thing in the box is actually a book that is not new to me. It is a book from author Steven Erikson's series, Malazan Book of the Fallen. Dead House Gates is my absolute favorite of the books. It is absolutely incredible. Steven Erikson writes epic fantasy, but this one specifically has a... I don't even know where to begin describing this book. The amount of emotional catharsis that I felt at the end of this book was incredibly powerful, and I can't say enough good things about him. If you like really gritty, really deep characters that, you know, just will blow your mind, this book is not for the faint-hearted, and it is a commitment to get through these. As you can see, it's huge, and Erikson, because his world building is so intense and there's so much to learn about his world, it can be a little bit of a challenge for somebody who might not be used to reading epic fantasy. So if this is not a genre that you are familiar with or comfortable with, I highly recommend maybe reading some other epic fantasy books first. But this is one of my all-time favorite books and has one of my all-time favorite literary moments in it. So if you've read this book, comment below and I will tell you what moment that is. But it's just, it's such a good book. The next book that's in the box is An Alchemy of Masks and Mirrors. This one, the description really grabbed me. It's book one in, I believe, a trilogy, but I'm not, don't quote me on that. This one has a main character, Isabel, who is a princess, and she is watched over by this really fatherly kind of musketeer character, Jean-Claude, and he's kind of been her father figure throughout her court life. And then she is betrothed to a prince, and the only catch to this is that the last two women who were betrothed to this prince were assassinated. I don't know, it just sounded like a book that was kind of like a smash on the normal, like, prince and princess get betrothed trope. I pay attention to who is recommending books, and this one has a recommendation from Brandon Sanderson, who is one of my all-time favorite fantasy writers. So if Brandon Sanderson's name is on it, I'm curious. Okay, the next book that I picked up was Under the Blood Red Sun by Graham Salisbury. This one I've heard about before, and I'm really excited to read it. It chronicles the story of Tommy, who is a little Japanese-American boy that lives here in the States during the bombing of Pearl Harbor. After Tommy's father and grandfather are arrested after the bombing, Tommy kind of has to be the man of the family and keep his little sister and the rest of his family together. And he's got this little kind of motley crew of buddies, so it's got the found friendship themes that I really love. Really quickly, I wanted to jump in with the two books that came in the box that I literally know almost nothing about. I chose them specifically because they looked really intriguing from the descriptions and the book covers. The first one is Inside Out and Back Again by Thun Halai. This book follows the journey of a little girl who has to flee her home during the outbreak of the Vietnam War, and it's all written in a poetry style format, so I thought that that was really beautiful sounding, and I'm really looking forward to diving into it. The second one is called Across the Nightingale Floor by Lian Hearn, and this one's kind of a like Asian assassin kind of story with a little hint of magic in there, so that one really gripped my interest too when I read the description. So these are the two books in the box that I knew the least about, but I chose them based on their covers, the descriptions, and just other people's recommendations, especially on this one, that sounded really promising. The last, but definitely not least, book in this box is Mara, Daughter of the Nile by Eloise Jarvis McGraw. She is one of my favorite authors, and this book, if you've not read this book, you need to read this book. I'm not going to talk about it that much in this video because I want to talk about it more in depth later on, but this book takes place in Egypt. And it follows the story of Mara, who gets wrapped up in the political intrigue between Queen Hatshepsut, who was Egypt's first and only female pharaoh, and the contender for the throne, Thutmose, who was trying to have her removed so that he could take his rightful place. And Mara is a slave girl who gets wrapped up in all of this and becomes kind of a double agent. She's, oh my goodness, this book, if you have not read this book, read it. And that's all the books that I got in my box. I have another couple of boxes coming in the next couple of weeks, so I will probably be doing another book haul soonish. So that's all the books that I got in this book outlet box. I do have another couple of boxes coming in the next couple of weeks, so look for another book haul from me later on. If you have any questions about any of the books, or if you've read any of the books, please put them down below and I'd be happy to chat with you about them, and I'd love to hear your experience with them. And if you are not following me on Goodreads, you can find me just as Tori Tekken on there, and I have been doing book reviews of all of the books that I've been reading. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.